Welcome to another episode of Halfway to Nowhere, the original small batch, handcrafted, artisanal podcast about nothing in particular. As always, I'm Nathan.
And I'm Jeff.
And today we are discussing Nathan's top 10 movie list. Okay, so my top 10 list actually is a top 11 list because I just...
Immediately disqualified.
I could not fucking choose between two movies.
Okay.
Like when I got down to the last two, I was like, I can't do it.
Okay, well, I'm claiming the same thing then. Go.
Yeah, go for it. Okay, so already said it. Always been in my top 10 list is Lost in Translation.
Why?
Okay, there's always a lot of reasons, but I think primarily it's two things. One, it spoke to a sense of isolation from society that I feel. I'm an introvert.
Yeah.
And I don't often know how to talk to people.
Yeah.
And I do often feel like I'm sort of standing on the outside of what's happening, kind of looking in. And that movie was exactly that feeling. It was like, there was a sense, especially with Scarlett Johansson's character in the film, she was like a ghost kind of floating around, you know, this culture, but not really in it.
Yeah.
And she found another person who was in the same sort of situation, and they had a connection. And that's what resonated with me.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's beautifully shot, it's beautifully written, beautifully acted. There's a lot of just, you know, endearing sentiment in the movie about, you know, two different people at different points in their life. And the other thing that I really, really love is the ambiguous ending. I love films that leave the audience, it's up to them what they want to make out of the film. Yeah. And his whispered comment in her ear. Yeah. Nobody gets to know what it is. Yeah. And you get to choose what he said to her.
Yeah, that's right.
And I love that.
I like that. And that's actually a good filter too for people.
Yes, it
is
really
when
is.
Someone sees an ambiguous ending to a film and they get enraged. Versus someone who sees an ambiguous ending in a movie and goes, huh.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like ambiguous endings.
Well, it's just a change of pace, right? Like 99% of films tell you what you should be thinking. Yeah. Whereas these films go, you know what? It's up to you.
Yeah, the tiny package sort of an idea. I don't like as much as I don't mind, but I don't like as much as something that's more open-ended. Yeah. My favorite, by the way, not on my list. Yeah. I'll just jump in for a sec. Yeah. But my favorite ending to a movie was Burn After Reading.
Oh, yeah.
So they get to the end and it's all the guys sitting in the room. Yeah. Talking about like what happened to everybody. Yeah. And he goes, well, what did we learn? And the guy just goes, beats me. The end.
The end. Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
No, nothing was learned.
Yeah. No moral to this story at all.
No, it's over. Yeah. Go back to your lives.
I love that. Yeah. And I love that, like, much like with great art, that is, especially like abstract art, the response to the art is actually way more about the person watching. It's like it's like a reflection of who they are. Yeah. Do you want to believe in like a positive, or do you think the world is cynical and negative? Yeah. And you know, it really reflects who you are and what your beliefs are.
So when you're watching Lost in Translation, I watched that and it was like, geez, the ennui in here is killing me. But it's just so like, it's ennuiful.
That's a new word. I like it.
And it kind of bums me out.
I love it. I love it. I do have like, I love the Smiths. I have a morose side. I have like a really deep-seated, like underneath the surface is just a deep well of just sadness.
So so if you've got that, is it like, is that, it's funny because that's what I was asking you earlier. Yeah. Is that who you are? Or is it like, I have that expressed through art in different areas so that on the surface I'm actually quite happy and whatever?
I think I feel a lot of like melancholy, but I don't express it all the time. So I think when a piece of art comes along that actually speaks to that, it's kind of comforting. Yeah. And I think that's what it is. I can't be that person all the time because I'd be alone. Yeah. Like
no one could put
up with it. Exactly. And I think, and I actually have a philosophy, or I have an assumption that we don't talk about the heavier stuff as a culture too much just because it is too heavy. we kind of avoid it a bit.
Right.
You know, we kind of like anesthetize ourselves against the, I don't know, just kind of like the shitty reality of life kind of stuff. Yeah. Nobody really wants to talk about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sure don't. Moving on to number 9.
Okay, number 2. Okay, so like I say, no particular order. Number 2, The Exorcist.
Oh, shit. Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
God damn, that one still scares the crap out of me.
Yeah, and
Do you like being scared?
I do. I really do. I don't know why.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Really?
I don't know why.
So The Exorcist
yes.
is a terrifying movie.
It is.
And you didn't grow up religious.
No.
So there's
maybe that's part of the reason why I can watch it and not be too...
Yeah, I think if you had a Catholic upbringing, which I did not either.
For sure. If I actually believed any of the shit that they talk about or any of the sort of subject matter, I don't know if I'd be able to watch that movie.
Also, Max von Sydow was just terrifying to look at. Isn't he in that one?
Yeah, but he was super young, which is crazy. I always thought he was just old. The makeup in that movie
always old.
Is amazing.
Oh, did they make him up to look old?
Yeah.
Really?
Okay, so in The Exorcist, he was like late 20s, early 30s or something like that. Young guy. And then they put him in makeup to make him an old guy.
Yeah.
I never knew he was not an old guy. And then you look at him today.
Yeah.
As an old guy, he looks exactly like he did in The Exorcist. So whoever did the makeup for The Exorcist, hats off, because you did an amazing job.
Really? Why did they do that? Why do they take a guy in his 20s and make him look like an old guy?
I have no idea. I could not tell you why they didn't just cast an older person.
Yeah.
I mean, he was amazing in it. He looked like an old guy. Yeah.
Wow. Also terrifying in Strange Brew.
Never saw it.
No.
Yeah, it's not on my list.
All right.
Is it on yours?
Well, you'll see.
Okay. But why do I like it? It's okay. So I do love the horror genre.
Yeah.
I actually think that horror is really hard to do well. Mm-hmm. For whatever reason, it's just one of the genres that people.
It's also hard to say without sounding like you're saying horror.
I know. I have a really hard time with saying that word.
Anyway, go on.
Horror.
Horror.
Am I a horror?
Is it a rural horror show?
It's too many R's.
Okay.
Yeah. It's actually really hard to do a good horror movie. Mm-hmm. And it's so much so that like most horror movies are okay if they're like stupid. Like people are like, oh yeah, it's just a dumb horror movie, right?
Like Saw,
right? Like they don't, for whatever reason, they just don't have to really pay attention to proper storytelling or character development. They're just all about like cheap thrills and stuff like that. So when you get a horror movie that actually does those things and remains like a scary ass movie, that's amazing. And the thing that I love about The Exorcist, and I always go back to it, is that I love that there is a circular story that happens in that film that starts with the priest and ends with the priest. Mm-hmm. They gave the demon that was possessing the girl an actual purpose. When Max von Sydow unearths the relics in Iraq, I believe it is, at the beginning of the film, he comes face to face with an ancient evil. Yeah. And they actually like have like almost like a stare down. There's this weird moment where like the statue and him are face to face, and it's really intense. Then it just goes into this story of this girl being possessed. But what you don't realize is that the demon wants that priest. Yeah. And that's the whole point of this possession.
Oh, was it him like as a guy in his 20s in Iraq? And then later on in life?
No, he was still old in his... There wasn't that big of a gap.
Okay, good.
No, it was literally like, a couple of years or
still
something.
Still trying to figure out that casting choice.
It's fine. It's fine. Right. He was just forget about it.
It's not important.
But so there was one shot in particular which I love in this film, which is we see earlier that the girl, I can't remember her name, is bound and tied to the bed because she's out of control. And she actually vocalizes, and they play it backwards, and then they actually realize that she's calling out for the priest. Yeah. She wants the priest to come to her. And then there's a cop who's investigating what's happening. There's this weird stuff happening. He's trying to figure out what's going on. And he's sitting outside of the girl's house, and he looks up to the window, and in the window he sees the girl's silhouette at the window, which basically means that even though she's pretending to be tied to the bed, she can do whatever she wants. So she's actually just faking it to lure this priest in so that she can kill him. So, like, on the surface, if you're not paying attention, you'll miss that. But underneath it, there's this malevolent creature who is orchestrating all of this stuff to get what it wants. And I love that they actually spent the time to do that.
See, I was thinking about watching this movie as you started talking about it, and then you got to that scene, and I thought, no, I'm never watching that. Never watching that.
And they spend a lot of time doing proper character development. So you care about the priests, you care about the girl, and you care about her mom. And they spend like a good half of the movie just doing character development stuff. It's great.
What is it with window scenes? Like, there was when I was a little kid, there was a I think it was a made-for-TV production of Salem's Lot, which was an old Stephen King book.
Yeah.
That they put on, it was like on CBS or something. Yeah. Starring David Soul from Starsky and Hutch. Okay. And then he pulls into I just remember the scene of him pulling into the yard of this house and looking up in the window, and there's just some kid floating in the window, scratching the glass. Yeah. Scared the shit out of me.
Yep. Well, windows are not as secure as a wall, right? Like, you know that fucker could just break through that window.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, and then you're like, you know what?
It's just seeing something. Like, you just look over and go, what's that? Oh, my God.
Especially when it's not supposed to be there. Like,
it's not supposed to be there.
You're 2 floors up.
Yeah.
And there's a person outside of it.
Floating.
Yeah.
It's not cool.
That's not cool.
Nope.
No.
All right, next one.
All right, next one. This one is actually...
Please lighten it up now. Come on.
I would say... Okay.
No. Don't. Just tell me what you were going to say.
I was going to say Brokeback Mountain.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay.
So right. I do have lighter ones later in the list.
Okay. I've never seen this one.
Really?
No, I really wanted to, but for whatever reason, just haven't seen it.
Yeah. Notoriously known as the gay cowboy movie.
Yeah.
Really...
I thought that was Blazing Saddles.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Well, they're both.
Right.
Whatever. But no, it's a really reductionist kind of perspective, probably by people who have never seen the movie, actually spent time to watch it.
Yeah.
It's just a beautiful movie, and it has one of the... You ever have a movie where there's one particular scene that just gets you every time, like you just get a little choked up? Yeah. This movie has an ending that just gets me every fucking time, and it's a combination of like the culmination of the story and character, and then the music, and then the cinematography. You put those 3 things together, and every single time I get to this, if I watch the whole thing front to back without pause, I'm choked up at the end.
Is it the scene where the cowboy says to the other cowboy, "You complete me"?
No, and that actually didn't happen. It's "Why Can't I Quit You?" Oh. You Complete Me is Jerry Maguire.
Sorry, that was Jerry Maguire. Yeah, okay, sorry.
Different movie.
Jerry Maguire was the other gay cowboy movie.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Why do I like it? It's about people struggling against bigotry.
Yeah.
Is really what it is. And the did you want to know about it? Like, can I tell you the ending?
Don't tell me the ending.
Okay.
Don't ruin it for me.
Okay.
And anybody else who hasn't seen it.
Yeah.
I always thought that movie was like the way I understood it, and the reason why I like it, even though I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
And I will someday.
Yeah.
Is that it's just about love.
That's exactly.
And
right.
that love just sort of like expresses itself in 100 different ways.
Yep.
And it just happened to express itself this way.
Yep. And given the sort of persecution that these people dealt with at that time, they weren't allowed to love who they wanted to love.
Right.
And I think that's the sort of like the injustice of the whole thing. And that's what makes it so powerful.
Yeah.
Is that there are just some people who never got to live the life that they would have preferred.
Yeah.
And I think that's just a really sad, tragic story.
Yeah.
And it's beautifully shot. Ang Lee's direction is amazing. Beautifully acted. Heath Ledger, I think it's even better than his Joker. Like, it's an amazing portrayal.
Ledger, right. Yeah.
You should see it. Like, he's...
Okay. I'm writing it down.
Yeah. And the soundtrack is amazing. There's
Nathan's list of horribly depressing, beautiful movies.
Totally. I do have an affinity for horribly depressing but beautiful films.
Okay.
All right,
What's your next one?
Next one Alien, the first one.
Okay.
Yeah, Ridley Scott.
Yeah.
One of the best horror movies, I think, ever made. And really a genre-defining film, both in sci-fi and in horror.
Never saw it.
Come on.
Nope.
Are you fucking with me?
No.
You never saw Alien, the first one.
Okay, when we get to my list and I say some movies that I know you haven't watched,
Jesus.
we'll be even.
Really?
No, it's too scary, man. It was like it came out when I was 10 years old.
Yeah, but you're not 10 anymore.
I know, but I still can't sit through The Shining.
Are you still a 10-year-old boy inside?
Okay, so when I was a kid and The Shining, the commercial for The Shining would come on, and it would just be the kid rolling around in the hallways, and then him running through the maze, I would jump out of my chair and run.
Just run.
Out of the room.
You would end up in a different state.
And it would freak me out.
Yeah.
So I just, and those things stuck with me. Like
Interesting.
6 months ago.
So horror movies.
Maybe a year ago.
Off the table.
Maybe a year ago.
Yeah.
The Shining is on, The Shining is on TV.
Yeah.
I think finally I can sit down and actually watch this movie.
Yeah.
Nope. Nope. I get to the point where they're up in the hotel. He gets the job.
Yeah.
And then it's the first night alone there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't. No. It's a big empty open hotel. No, I don't like it.
Oh, that's hilarious. Okay. So Alien, amazing movie.
Yep.
One thing that I will say about Alien, part of the reason why I think it works so well is, and it's an odd relationship, but the same as Die Hard. Mm-hmm. When you enclose the space, so that your protagonist and antagonist are forced into conflict, immediately you have just constant tension. So, like, Die Hard, John McClane could not leave that building. Yeah. They locked it down. So he had to face up to what was happening.
Speed,
sure. You're trapped on the bus, right?
Phone booth,
yeah.
With Colin Farrell.
He was... Okay,
I feel like by the time they got there...
the point I was trying to make.
Okay, sorry.
Titanic, they couldn't get off that boat.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But in Alien...
Do you think that the talk around, like, the brainstorming around phone booth was, like, basically your point about, like, a small space? And everybody, what's a much smaller space?
Oh, what's the smallest space a person could be in?
Oh, what if you're just stuck in a phone booth?
It was either phone booth or coffin, but they went with phone booth.
There was a coffin movie.
Was there?
Like, last year.
Oh, Jesus.
And it looks...
But wait, was
the whole movie is shot inside a coffin.
Was the antagonist in there with him?
Yeah.
Just two dudes, like
face to face,
yeah, front to back,
yeah,
front to front, spooning. Okay.
Yeah. One of them said, "I can't quit you."
Oh yeah.
Sorry, we're going.
Good movie. Okay, next, The Prestige.
Yes.
Ooh. Yeah. So I love Christopher Nolan's films. I think that he's one of the biggest directors out there working with, like, some of the largest budgets that's still doing idea movies, concept movies.
Yeah.
He always has some kind of, interesting intellectual spin on, whatever he's doing. Interstellar and Inception. I mean, that's one of the... Inception was one of the biggest budget films that was based around just a really basic psychological idea. I love that kind of stuff. But yeah, The Prestige is less about that, actually, and it's more just like one of the coolest versions of using the medium as a metaphor for the story. Like, it's about illusion. Yeah. And it's about specifically magic tricks. Mm-hmm. And he tells you at the beginning of the film exactly what he's going to do. He tells you exactly what the moves are.
You pointed this out to me a while ago. I thought it was really interesting because I hadn't thought of this when I watched it.
The very first shot of The Prestige is a hillside covered in black hats, all of them duplicated. And it has Christian Bale's voice going, "Are you watching?" And then it cuts and it starts the story. Yeah. That scene is so clever because he's telling you exactly what he's going to do. Mm-hmm. And nobody saw it. Well, I mean, I'm not going to say nobody. I'm sure there were some clever people out there who, I knew what was going to happen. But most people got to the end of that film and were shocked by what happened, even though if you were paying attention, It was all there.
And those are always the greatest things. So that's a device. Like I've seen that in other movies where they kind of give away the ending and you have no idea. It's unconnected, so you have no idea. Yeah. And then when you see it at the end, it's just such a satisfying
oh yeah.
Oh, that's what that was. Yeah. It's amazing. It was such a good movie that way.
Yeah. And there's certain lines where I think they talk about most people don't want to believe the truth of what's happening. They want to be dazzled. Yeah. They want the spectacle. But they don't want to actually believe it's true. Because if you believed what was happening was true, you'd be terrified. And that's the idea with the magic trick is that Wait,
are we talking about Trump or are we talking about the movie?
Well, Trump really.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. He is the worst magic trick to ever come along. But yeah, sawing a woman in half. Yeah. Nobody actually wants to believe that somebody's getting sawed in half. That's terrifying. Mm-hmm. So they want to believe there's some kind of trick to it. Mm-hmm. So it's great that he took the psychology of it and actually created a script around that and built the structure of the script around that. He's just him and his brother, Jonathan, who co-writes with him, they're just really clever guys.
They're great at story structure.
Yeah, they are. Oh yeah, Memento.
It's on my list. It's just the best that way.
It really is.
The way that they decided to play, they played it backwards. Anyway, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, that could have easily made my list actually.
Yeah.
Okay, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yes. Yeah. That used to be on my list.
Yeah. I actually went back to it. It used to be on my list, then it kind of dropped off for a while. Mm-hmm. And then I started watching it again recently. I'm like, God damn, this is a good movie.
I was thinking about Michel Gondry, the director, a little while ago.
Yeah.
And thinking about how much I loved him. And I went on to IMDb just to see, what else did he do that I really loved?
Yeah.
And there was, what was the Rewind one?
Erase and I know the one you're talking about, Jack Black.
The video store. Yeah. So that one, it was okay, but it wasn't great.
Oh, Be Kind, Please Rewind, something like that. Fuck, I don't know.
That thing. And then there was a French one. They shot in French, which I watched, which was good.
I wanted to watch that one, but I never got around to it.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. But so this is really the only movie. And then he did a bunch of music videos before. Brilliant. And that's where... I know he did some Foo Fighters videos and a bunch of others that were really...
He did some stuff for the Chemical Brothers.
Yeah. And those are really inventive and amazing.
Absolutely.
But this one is this is his
what it is? It's the combination of Michel Gondry and Andy Kaufman, the writer.
Yes, yeah.
Sometimes apart, two people are okay, but when you get them together, all of a sudden you've got just something that is... more than the sum of the parts.
Yeah, that movie was amazing to me. Yeah, just incredible the way the structure of it, and just the visuals were incredible.
Yeah,
and actually to see Jim Carrey not be a goof,
it's his best role as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. For him to play understated, that's the best trick of all.
Yeah. And I just love it works on many levels. It's just a really endearing love story, but I love the mechanics of the dreams or the memories. How he's telling the story through a guy who's living inside of his own memories and how they're being erased over time. That's just really clever.
And the deconstruction, the visuals, the deconstructions of the memories was amazing.
Oh yeah, I love when he's in the library having a conversation with her, and the books are actually being de-written. All the
spines.
The spines are being erased. Right. Just clever stuff.
So funny. There was a headline from The Onion I remember a while ago, which was Michel Gondry becomes entranced with ball of yarn and cardboard box.
He's kind of got a Bjork-like quality to him in that he's just kind of slightly mad.
Yeah.
But incredibly creative.
Totally.
Yeah. And can find creativity in just the simplest things. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You see that video of him solving the Rubik's Cube with his feet?
No, but of course he did.
Yeah. But the thing is that he didn't actually solve the Rubik's Cube. He actually videotaped it backwards. So he started with a finished Rubik's Cube, and he put it on the ground and he deconstructed it with his feet, but then he ran the footage backwards and it looked like he solved it. And in the background, he actually put somebody who walked by backwards,
nice.
so that when he reversed it, it looked like they walked by forward, so you would never question the fact that it was... And that's just the type of shit that he does, right?
So he's just a fraud, basically.
He's just a fraud.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm taking that off my list.
Yeah, fuck him. Fuck that guy.
Okay, The Big Lebowski.
Yes.
Obviously, I feel like that's on your list.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah,
It's
I mean, we did an entire podcast on it, so I'm not even going to get into it. Just the dude represents the lifestyle that I aspire to. Yeah. Plus, the characters are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And the writing and the whatever. The next one is The King's Speech.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Why? Why that one?
Here's the thing. Love and romantic relationships get the lion's share of storytelling.
Yes.
And very rarely do you get actually platonic friendship stories.
Yeah.
And that's what The King's Speech is at its heart.
Yeah.
It's got a great setting. It's got very compelling characters.
Yeah. Oh, and Lethal Weapon.
And Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
Very similar films in a lot of ways.
Yes.
But The King's Speech is in sort of like an unexpected friendship between two people from two very different walks of life.
Mm-hmm.
And they form this bond that actually extends for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
And that's why I like it. I like that somebody spent the time to do a film about really strong friendship, because you just don't get that very much.
I like Jeffrey Rush in that.
Amazing.
Yeah. You know what I like most about that movie?
Yeah. And
I really like the whole movie.
Yeah,
I think I agree with everything you're saying.
Yeah.
You know what I like most about it?
Yeah.
The way they portrayed royalty.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean specifically in the set decoration.
Okay.
So the rooms are not that nice.
Right.
It's kind of like they're kind of shitty.
Yeah.
Everything's not that great.
Yeah.
And you think, okay, well, it's 1940 something.
Yeah.
England.
Yeah.
Post-war.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's not going to be that nice.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of like British dourness to it.
There is.
Which I thought was a nice touch. I quite like that.
I really like part of the reason why I love Jeffrey Rush's character is because like his studio space is just disgusting. Like the walls are grimy.
Yeah.
It's bleak.
That's England. That was like everything.
Yeah, everything, and like the streets were just gray and gritty, but he is just so like there's a even amongst all of that.
Yeah.
When the king comes to visit him and they just have a cup of tea or whatever and have a conversation, there's this warmth at the heart of it. Like even despite all of this like bleakness, there's still like this, warmth and comfort in it.
Yeah.
And I
it makes it stand out more, I think.
I think so, yeah. It's that contrast. Yeah, totally.
It's funny because there's so many movies, like most like general Hollywood fare. Like, a rom-com when you see it.
Yeah, for sure.
Because everything is pretty, like the colors are saturated.
Right.
Speaking like an art director.
Yeah.
But like the colors are really saturated. Yeah. The sets are really well designed. The apartments look beautiful. Yes. The workspaces, like whatever
perfect, right?
Whatever shitty restaurant you're working in looks amazing.
It's the best restaurant. Yeah.
But poor you.
Yeah. Oh.
Right? But everything looks really nice and appealing.
Yeah.
Whereas in something like this, like most of it doesn't look appealing.
Yes.
And there's something, it makes the warmth in the characters pop more.
Totally, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's very true. And it actually makes me wonder if those romantic comedies, when the main characters are having a rough time, because they always have a period of it's shitty.
Yeah,
my life is so shitty. Maybe they're setting like really unrealistic expectations.
Oh, for sure.
About what actual shitty life is, because nobody's apartment looks that clean.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah. But that's escapism. It
is escapism.
You want to watch one of those because you just want something nice to look at for a little while. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
And those things are fun. Yeah. Like I say, I'm binge watching. We're binge watching Entourage at home right now, and everything's just nice and pretty
just
and
perfect,
perfectly normal. And it's just all escapism, but it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so that was 9.
Yeah.
So I'm at number 10.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna just pick 2.
Yeah.
One of them is Rushmore, Wes Anderson.
Never saw it.
Really?
Wait. No, I did. It was Bottle Rocket is the one I haven't seen.
That's the one you haven't seen. Yeah. Rushmore. It's tough with Wes Anderson. I love pretty much all of his films.
Yeah.
It's funny that like my least favorite Wes Anderson is one of your favorite ones, and that's a whole other discussion.
Yeah.
But
Rushmore, why we can never be friends.
It's true. Rushmore is really just it's just so quirky and funny, and the soundtrack is amazing.
Is it because it was his first? Like, it's when he, like when you first saw like Bottle Rocket. I haven't seen it, but
Rushmore
I feel
was
like
the first movie of his I saw.
That's very Wes Anderson.
It is,
with the soundtrack and the characters.
Yeah.
Like, do you like it because? Do you think because it is like the first time you experience that?
There is that.
Yeah,
there's definitely that. I think it's like just perfect Wes Anderson.
Yeah,
I think it's sort of quintessential Wes Anderson. There's also another thing. There's an undercurrent. There's usually in most of these films, there's an undercurrent of something that resonates with me.
Yep.
And with this film in particular, it's he has the main character, Max, has just an endearing zest for life, even though he has no skills.
Yeah.
Like he just will constantly be trying stuff and failing all the time.
That sounds like me.
Yeah. But he's just he's a really great version of just being alive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's this really touching moment at the very end where he's been pursuing this teacher who's, you know, much older than he is for the majority of the film. And she's bereaved because her husband has died, and then she ends up falling in, well, not really love, but she kind of hangs out with Bill Murray's character for a while, and that's what starts the feud between the two characters, Bill Murray and Max.
Yeah.
And then they kind of like reconcile at the end. And there's this really touching moment where, you know, he gets the DJ to put on this one track.
Yeah.
And she takes off his glasses because they're going to dance together. And then she has a moment where I think she sees the future of this kid.
Yeah.
And she almost says something, but then she doesn't. And then they just have a dance, and then it fades out. And it was that moment at the very end that was just really, again, it's just one of those touching moments.
I remember that tricking me a little bit, thinking like, oh, is she really gonna?
Right.
Oh no.
But I think
and that's how the movie sucks you in, right?
And I think that's that, like, it's slightly ambiguous. I like to think that they didn't get together or anything, but I think that in different circumstances, he could have been that person. Yeah. For her. You know what I mean? And I love that. I love that just like neat little detail at the end.
Totally.
Yeah. The other one is Her. Spike Jonze's hipster rom-com.
I almost put that on my list.
Yeah.
That almost made it because it was so good.
So good.
So unexpectedly good.
Yeah. And why that one? It's just so clever. It touches, like, it's, I mean, for guys like us, like, its soundtrack is great. Its art direction is amazing. Like, its color palette, its costume choices. And it's the most understated, like, sci-fi pick you're ever gonna see.
Yes.
Like, it doesn't really feel like a sci-fi pick. You think of like Star Wars and, like, you know, The Matrix or something like that.
Yeah.
This movie is science fiction. Yeah. Because it's about the future and about AI and stuff like that. But it's not. It's just like a little love story.
And that's the thing about that one.
Yeah.
Because it feels like it was the inspiration for Black Mirror. Have you watched any of the Black Mirror episodes?
I haven't yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a lot of the Black Mirror shows are about technology.
Right.
Or it's like sci-fi slash they're very Twilight Zone.
Right. Yeah.
Type episodes. But they're based around technology. Yeah. And I think they really look to her as inspiration for it.
Yeah.
But the difference is the Black Mirror stuff is kind of depressing.
Right.
And bleak.
Yeah.
It's good. Yeah. But it doesn't have the same humanity. Like, Her had this real humanity to it, which I really loved.
Yeah.
And because if it was just about technology, the way the way we disassociate from each other through technology, that's just a fucking bummer.
It is, yeah.
But there was a connection.
That's the thing, is their relationship in her was really was just really endearing.
It's really a heterosexual sci-fi pastel colored Brokeback Mountain, wouldn't you say?
100%. I think that's what Ebert called it.
Yeah. So you actually get another pick because it's basically the same movie.
Same movie. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I got 10.
That's good.
And I'm in
That's good. 10. You made it.
That's our show for today. Thanks for listening. If you like this and you want to hear more, click subscribe below. And if you want to see more of Jeff's work, you can follow him at jeff.coates on Instagram, Jeff Coates on YouTube, and you can go to his website at satochicken.com.